What's up, everybody? Aloha Tuesday. Aloha Tuesday. That's right. Not Wednesday. Um, I know we tripping everybody out tonight because we normally go on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Like I said last night, I got a drug court conference on Oahu tomorrow and Thursday. So we moved the show. We moved the Wednesday show to Tuesday, and hopefully we get. I know a lot of guys don't follow me on Facebook. I mean, they wait for the notification and they jump on. So and I know we're running a little bit late. We had a little technical issues with the Wi-Fi. Got that resolved. So we're gonna hang tight for a little bit. Just hope you guys all are having a great week. It's been hot. It's been just so doggone hot. But lucky we live in paradise, man. We'll talk a lot about that tonight. We got our special guest tonight, Kukana Kama-Toth, running for State House District 51 on Oahu. Uh, if you guys have an opportunity, go ahead and share this. Share it, share it, share it. Just click the share button. Very simple. If you're on YouTube, um, because we are live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you're on any of those, go ahead and share it as well. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe to the channel. Every single one of our shows for almost 3 years now. In fact, it's over 3 years because I started doing this way before the pandemic. But every single episode is on there, so it's fun to scroll through and find somebody you think is interesting and go ahead and click them and watch them. And don't forget subscribe so you get notified whenever we put up a new video. Sometimes I do some impromptus that is out of this world. Those are pretty much for adults only because sometimes I tend to say some inappropriate things. But anyway, yeah. So and if you haven't been to my YouTube channel, make sure you go and check it out, subscribe, and it really helps the channel. All right. So let's get started, man. Let's get started. I'm excited. It's that time of year. It's that time of year that the objective of this show from day one was to inform and educate. We focused on COVID. I know a lot of this is repetitious for our normal viewers, our loyal. We call them the villagers. Oh man, I forgot my cup. Oh my gosh, I don't have my water. I'm gonna have to go run get my water. But um, we had focused on COVID for so long, and now because right before the primary, we really started to try to bring on information on candidates and so we can make some informed decisions. The primary was critical because you got to pick who's going to be in the general, and by the looks of ours, we heard last night from Lieutenant Governor Iona Duke. The turnout was horrible. So apparently, we didn't do a good enough job getting the message out. We cannot let that happen again in the general. We all got to go out and vote. So we're going to try to bring on candidates. Like I said, I don't look at D, I don't look at R. I look at people. I look at the person. I look at issues. I look at background. I look at culture. I look at a lot of things before I decide who I'm going to vote for. So tonight, for those of you on Oahu, specifically those of you that live or know people that live in District 51, Kukana is here. What do you go by? Kukana or Kana or
Kukana.
Kukana? Okay,
Yes.
Kukana. So welcome to the show. Thank you for throwing your name in the ring. Uh, Politics is a difficult thing to do. So we appreciate you for doing that, and personally, I thank you for jumping on the show tonight. How you
Thanks
doing,
for
girl?
having me. Thanks for having me, Mel. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Um, I'm a really busy individual. I'm no different than other families that have, children who you have to dash them from this activity to this activity, but I'm really blessed. I have five young adults, four of them who've already graduated from high school, and my baby is actually the last one left. She's a senior this year, and so um, I really feel that I can be present for the community, and not like the past years before where I was trying to juggle my family's needs, my responsibilities, as well as my community advocacy in my home, and so yeah.
Well, we're gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna turn the screen over to you while I run to the. No, I get my AirPods so I can still hear.
You have
So
to
don't
get
talk
your
shit
your
about me.
water. It's
I gotta drink my
important.
water. Yeah, of course. I cannot believe I have a routine, on show days where I have everything set up and planned. I just want to say I've never met Kukana. And I'll after she introduces herself and shares her story with us, I'll explain how I got to meet her uh, virtually through Messenger. But I just want to say this, she was on her phone trying to get this thing to work. It was exactly like how it was when we had Augie T on, and I started to sweat. I started to sweat. Like, here we go again. I said, "Sister, you got a laptop maybe?" And she hooked up her laptop, and it's working perfectly fine. But her camera angle was off, and she said, "I don't like them see my mess." I said, my wife worried about the same thing, but you know what? It shows the world that we normal, struggling people that live our lives for our families. And sometimes if I was to turn this camera around right now, number one, you guys would freak out. Number two, my wife would be upset. So I got them against the wall, so you really cannot see the mess. So anyway, hey, Kukana, I'm gonna turn them over to you. Please feel free to introduce yourself. Take as much time as you want. It's informal, uncensored, unscripted, and let's have some fun tonight.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mel. Again, aloha mai kako. Greetings to all. My name is Kukana Kama-Toth. I am currently running for State House Representative for the Kailua and Waimanalo area. Um, a little bit about me. I'm a mother of five. I've shared before, and really my advocacy that I've done in my own community here in Waimanalo and Kailua, it started with my family. And so for those of you who can relate, having such a large family or even just having one child, you tend to be very involved with them as they grow. And so my children are ranging ages today from 26 years old to 17 years old. And so I've got to really experience the educational system here in Hawaii. And I started to see how things started to change. Curriculum changed. Um, the requirements for graduation started to change. You know, um, the way curriculum was delivered started to change. And so I really got involved with their education. I chose to stay home. Both my husband and I, he was our provider and he went to work while I stayed home to care for the children. And so, understanding also that having just one income was really tough, but the trade-off was priceless. And anyway, education. I went full swing with education and started to really advocate for specific services. I have children that have some hearing impairments. Not, I shouldn't say hearing impairments, but they had some struggles with their hearing. My oldest child is a cancer survivor, and so traversing the medical um, area and having to move to another state for treatment, making decisions that were tough and hearing things that you really didn't like and really broke your heart. And so these experiences really kind of helped mold me for who I was becoming. And so when our youngest child was school aged, she went to kindergarten, and I finally had an opportunity to do something I always wanted to do. And I went to college. I went back to college at the age of 32, and I started to really see this world as just it was big. It was bigger than what I thought it was. My world was already big. Being a staying at home mom, you know, my husband being in the construction industry, having, getting union jobs, losing the job, working in the private sector, um, work gets slow, having to move into another sector, like in a maintenance area. And so the struggles was real, but we managed to hang in there, and I was still able to stay home. We struggled. Sometimes we get the electricity shut off. Sometimes we'd have to go to the family's house to go and bathe our children, but I was present. And I believe me being present at the home front is what really built helped build real true character for our children. But it also allowed me to be involved. So education was a huge deal for us. Being on time was a huge deal for me. And so, anyways, that was just a little bit about me. I when I went to college, my life lessons along with the academia, it just like meshed and the world just grew for me. And I was really there to get a degree, get an amazing job so I could help provide financially with my husband, alongside him. And I started to really realize that I just wanted to learn more. And so history, economics, my Hawaiian culture and history, language, and I started to, with my husband, make these real changes that we needed when we weren't happy with the educational system. We would push our kids into a charter school, or, if we didn't like what was happening or we didn't feel it was to our expectations for our children. And I'm not saying that our teachers are poor or the schools that were in our district were poor. We just wanted to do what we needed to do to push our children into the direction that we felt was balanced for them. And so eh, after that happened, I started to see outside of my family. I started to see my neighborhood, the beaches. I started to see other needs for my community's children, and I started to get really involved in servicing others, our houseless and homeless population. I started to get real active at our neighborhood board, raising awareness to certain issues. If it was with the military, because Waimanalo has Bellows, and Kailua also has Kaneohe Air Force Base, and so I started to really see the dynamics of the area that I was calling home in Kailua and Waimanalo, and how we, even as Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians, we had a lot of different issues that were actually issues throughout the whole state of Hawaii, and so I would advocate at the neighborhood board level, and then I started to see, like, what, this is tough. Um, the chair, he didn't seem like he was interested in what I was bringing forth, and so that prompted me to run for a position on the board. I think I had two elections that I did, and I lost both of them because I started to learn that our community here in Waimanalo really didn't participate in voting for the board. So I started raising awareness to the community through this kind of platform on Facebook. I would talk to people in the grocery store, encouraging them to watch in the mail for these ballots that would come through and to place their vote of support for me so I could get onto the board. Well, lo and behold, a position got opened in the district, or the precinct, that the district that I lived in, for the neighborhood board here in Waimanalo. And so I ended up talking to a board member to see if they would nominate me, and they did. And so I believe that was back in 2017. I just had graduated from college with my bachelor's in social work. Go figure. I got a degree in social work because I just absolutely love helping and servicing people, you know. And once I got there, we started, it was kind of like a level up in the advocacy, you know. We would talk about certain issues and we started recognizing that, what, we're taking up a lot of time talking about this one issue. And we've had many here in Waimanalo in the past 5 years, thanks to ground shakers, including myself, and others in the community who raised a lot of awareness to specific things that was related to not only government, but to overusage of individuals when it came to our natural and marine resources, And so, anyways, I shouldn't say long story short because every time I say that it ends up being long. But I started to see that we needed committees. So Waimanalo Neighborhood Board never really had they had official committees, but there wasn't that much participation in it, and I don't want to take away credit from people who tried, before me. But now to this day, like, we have so many different committees, which allows us to raise awareness to specific things in those areas, and it gives our community a place to be able to share their concerns and to help with solution building. And so that's kind of, in a nutshell, of how I ended up coming to politics. 'Cause I didn't want to, it just kind of happened. And I started to build trust in the community. um, I can't go to the store without somebody being like, "Hey, Kukana, this issue, this and that," and hey, I want to know about it. Sometimes we'll be in the yard and somebody will stop at the gate. So it's kind of like I've built this trust piece. People feel like they can share things with me, that I'll actually go forward and do something about it. And after years of raising awareness to our council, he was a councilman then, we have a councilwoman now, and to our state legislation, I thought about it in 2020, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it, and instead of me going to the neighborhood board and getting support, and then from there going to these representatives to give us support, why not just be the representative and then just go to the department that we need the help from, or go, it's just kind of moving my advocacy to another level that's a little closer to the decision makers that really have the potential to help us or hurt us here in the community of Waimanalo, Kailua, but also through the Pai'aina o Hawaii, across the whole state of Hawaii. Yeah.
Well, what a story. I got my degree when I was in my 40s. I decided to go back to school late as well. And I agree. I think it was a lot easier because of the life lessons that we have learned, from when we was young.
Yeah.
And I had classmates that were young, and they're, they weren't driven. They didn't care. They didn't make, and I didn't know when you go college, is a lot of your grade is based on group assignments, and not all the group members pull their weight because they're young. So it was difficult in that sense. But for me, as far as getting through, it made it a lot easier because of the life experiences that I had had, and I'm very
Definitely.
proud of that. Doing it late, and the other thing is, I actually lived in Kailua up on Keolu Hills in Lekiona Street. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar
wow.
with that.
I'm
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah. I went to Kailua Intermediate School.
When was
Um,
this? Because my husband's from Hele Street, and so
oh, Haley is right there. Yeah, Haley. Yeah, we used to skateboard down Haley Street all the time.
what about
I,
the waterways too? You used to boogie board down the waterways too.
absolutely, absolutely. We, back then never had these fancy games and iPads and phones, and we climbed the mountain, go find bullet shells. Went to the pillboxes. I mean, I tell you, it's that Kilo Hills is not the same. Last time my wife and I took a drive through, it was like, wow, that used to be a mountain. Now it's a subdivision. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
love Kailo. I love the Windward side. I still have a lot of family living in in Aikahi in the Kala Hill area. They're still up there, and my wife has family living in Kyoto Hills actually today. So wow, we got a lot in common. Cool. But I
Yeah.
love this show because people might see a brochure, people might see an article, they may read the Civil Beat questionnaire, but that doesn't give you an opportunity to really share the why. I believe politics is a calling. So you kind of explain what drove you to making the decision to run for state office.
Mhm.
You spoke on some of the issues, but as we look at um, our state today, and your district is on the windward side, but you're right. The issues that affect District 51 also uh, affect the rest of the state. What are your top issues or problems that you're seeing? I know last night we spoke a lot about, spent a lot of time on the corruption that we're seeing in state government.
Mhm.
We also see some of that in county governments, but you mentioned people not voting. I said that in the opening that we as candidates aren't doing a good enough job um, making it attractive enough for people to spend 5 minutes of their day to fill in some bubbles and put them in a free stamp address stealth whatever envelope. They're just not doing it, and I think a lot of them believe that their vote doesn't matter. When
Yeah,
when
I think
20% of the people are determining the future of the rest of us, that's not cool. So what do you see right now? Should you get elected? Some of your priorities that you would be focusing on.
so and that's such a great question because I've been talking to my team and it seems like I've been focused everywhere, and well, definitely our natural resources, you know, and they told me to use different words, but I believe in public accessibility. We have to be able to balance our economic needs along with our everyday usages. We need breaks too, especially if you're working full time every week. So making sure that commercial activities are managed down at our water's edge. I know that's a big deal here in both of the communities of Waimanalo and Kailua. Another issue is, of course, education. I feel that there's a really hard press on traditional college. And even though I went that route, I really learned that there's a vocational community of people that really need because to be guided there. So like I currently work in helping people to gain credential obtainment. I believe we need more jobs. There are always going to be jobs, in the industries of plumbing, if it's electricians, if it's in our medical fields as CNAs, owning your own business, entrepreneurship, and so that's why I really look to our business owners too to see their needs because if we don't have businesses, then how is our people going to get employment? So employment, small business supports. What else? I could ramble on, Mel. Like seriously, you should help guide me because
No,
8%
no,
Portuguese, and it's all right here in my mouth. Okay, so
yeah, yeah. Well,
um,
let's take a look at public access because that's a
okay,
problem here on Kauai as well. I mean, we are a small island, obviously surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. We had well, we still do, but again, like you said, so much focus has been placed on tourism.
mm-hmm,
And I just yesterday news, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they were celebrating that we're bringing in more money now than we ever did. And of course they slide that with less visitors because that's what they want us to believe, that we have
leave.
less visitors, and they're claiming that they're managing tourism. Well, I will tell you this: I like it better when they weren't managing tourism, because ever since they turned on the managing switch, for Kauai anyway, we have more tourists, we have more impacts on our infrastructure, we have less availability of natural resources that we once treasured for our families in the way of beaches and trails and so forth. So I don't buy that management thing. But and again, don't let me try to steer your discussion. It's okay to disagree. I'm just saying,
No,
you guys, I'm quite familiar because you guys make it in the news a lot on the windward side, Kailua Beach, and all of the commercial activities that were really interrupting with the lifestyle of the residents. But that's a key issue. Education, another big one. And you're very akamai on education, much more than I. I do want to ask you the same question I asked the Lieutenant Governor Duke last night about what was his thoughts about the DOE superintendent getting selected for the job, and then within, I don't know, a few weeks he appointed two new deputy superintendents to the tune of 190,000 a year each, plus benefits, which is going to be pushing 600 grand. When he was selected because they believed he was qualified and competent to do the job. Uh,
I I think that you could say the same with politicians, right? Like you get into this position, this is the responsibility of what you're supposed to be doing, and then you put it on Kalamaya, just gonna be really real. You put it on to others, below you to say that this is the expectations that you gotta meet to hit this guidelines, and yet they're not even meeting it themselves. And I have a hard time with that. I really, really do. It's like we have these expectations. I mean, education, right? Like I said, I watched one of their board meetings, and yes, they were making their mission statement and their vision, but they understanding people need to understand it. You can have a law, you can have a guideline, but it's the policies, it's the breakdown, it's the implementation that counts the most. And so I just believe that if you're going to be paid, because for many of the years that I've been in community work, that was time being given, and I'm not alone in this. There are many of us, people like me out there, that go work, they take care of their families, and then they still manage to put their service into their daily lives because it's important to them. And there's no, that's voluntary, it's voluntary. My husband can even share too. There's been nights where something comes up, and it's like, this is the plan, this is what we were gonna do, and I'm here telling him, you know what, I got a meeting. It's like, you always got meetings. It's like, I'm sorry. And so I'm sharing that with you because that's just with the kindness and the aloha in the heart to go and do something that just needs to be done, versus being in a position where you have the capabilities, you have somebody that can go and research this for you and give it to you. So you just got to read it like this, and then you can go and do what it is that you got to do. So for me, I wish I could get paid. I would like to get paid to do that job. Like, pay me, I'll do that.
Well, that's what troubles me. And I was on the council for 14 years, so I've seen so much. I've been out of office now for 4 years, but yeah, it's a frustration. I kind of call it like a paper government, right? Everything looks good on paper, but when you talk to the residents, you talk to the families, you talk to the people out there that are working 2 and 3 jobs. Oh, it's not. It's not okay. When we got to bend over backwards because we need to have this Disneyland for visitors, and we got to appreciate them because they are our financial machine or economic driver. Well, I understand that, but you mentioned the vocational training, why it's so important, and we call this the village, and we're villagers, but the villagers, correct me if I'm wrong, and you may even know too, but I believe it's in Switzerland that when the kid reaches 8th grade, they make a determination, the educational system with the parents and the kids, what track are they going to go on? Are they going to go college or are they going to go vocation? And from that moment, that whole curriculum for the students change. Not everyone is built for college. I was not built for college out of high school. Trust me, I would have failed. But many people, I have nephews that are truck drivers. They're working in the trades. I have family members that work in the trades, making a very good living and taking care of their families. But how do we as a state, or when will this state realize and accept the reality that this reliance on tourism is affecting the quality of life for our local residents? And what needs to happen? I mean, I see it every single day here. You see it every single day there. In fact, across the state. What will it take for our state leadership to understand that we better start taking care of our people first before we, again, I call it the Disneyland for visitors. When will that happen?
you know, I believe that we'll always have tourism, you know, military. It's something else too. Folks, they gotta know that that's the biggest driving forces here in Hawaii is tourism and military. You know, ask me that question one more time because I like go on tangent and I don't want
Oh
to.
no, I know, and remember, there is no nothing to hold back here. We are live though, so just understand that
Yeah,
we cannot unring the bell, but
no, I'm good.
uh,
Like I have no.
yeah,
No, I have no problem. I
Yeah,
usually
I
all my
I
things I
think
do is live, and it's always on the spot. I don't ever catching me editing my videos or nothing like that. It's
yeah,
just
there is no editing here, man. This is
yeah,
straight up. And what happens? This is real. I explained this to the LG last night. The phenomenon is weird. It's you will see like right now we have like 33 live viewers, somewhere on YouTube, some. But before you go sleep tonight, when you check, we'll have 400, and you go check tomorrow morning, it'll be 600. A lot of our
we
political leaders, a lot of our the staff of political leaders will tune in after the live show because they don't want their names flying up in the comments, saying, "Oh, so and so is here. Oh, so and so is here."
yeah.
So there's a lot of people that's going to see this. But my question was simply, and you're right, and military is a big thing here too with PMRF out there in Manila. But at some point, we got to recognize that we cannot rely on that, and understanding that we'll never get rid of tourism. It is a huge economic driver, but at some point, we got to realize that, hey, um, our people are suffering, our people are struggling, and at some point, we gotta pump the brakes and say, let's start to take care of our residents. Let's start to take care of our kupuna, our keiki. You mentioned so many critical issues with education. And what will it take for the state to recognize that? That was a question.
I think you kind of said it in the beginning of this. You cannot see D or R. You just cannot see D or R. You gotta see the person. You gotta see the person. You know, um, for me, that was a decision that I had to make. My whole family was Democratic, but so what? It doesn't. We all are people, and I think for me, there's a lot of skimming that goes on here in Hawaii. You might come up with this great idea, like for example, solar. Right? Everybody's getting the Voltec on top of their roof, and then all of a sudden, here comes the monopolization of that. You gotta link into Hawaiian election, and I'm not talking bad about them. It's just how things go here in Hawaii. You have to be able to be comfortable with challenging the norms, or to ask questions. Ask the question. Some people think I'm being forward, but it's like, no, I really want to understand, because in every when I look at all of these different things, like even just if we talked about vocational stuff, okay, in order to be a barber, you have to take a DCCA test. Like, in order to continue and be a esthetician, you have to take this test. It's like these constant extra steps being stuck into the process to wean more money out of us. You know, even like the outsourcing of services. Instead, Hawaii keep the money, invest it into our own economies to provide the service for, I don't know, for the and you get tickets, and you pay a ticket on time. Then you gotta call Texas Municipal Services in order to pay your bill, because you cannot just go down and pay them. Why are we utilizing services that are right here in Hawaii? Why are we using those services in other states? And so you say, like, when are they gonna know? Mel, I'll be really honest with you. I believe they already know. I believe they already know. They just don't want to change how things are. And you have said something, and others will say corruption. For me, I would like to just try and stay on a positive viewpoint of stuff. And I'm simply saying, we just adding in things that waste money, okay? Or it's pushing money into areas where it doesn't benefit our people, you know and so there are, we could go into agriculture. We could go into creating our own means of energy. You have these windmill projects. That doesn't even help with any power or electricity or nothing for the community that windmill is in. It's just those constant, that, like, all of that kind of action that needs to change. That needs to change in order for Hawaii to move into another economic stimulus for our state. But when you got the same old stuff, you got the same things going on and on and on, and you hear people too. We need change. We need this. Oh, I cannot. Oh, you know what, Kukana, you've been doing amazing things in the community. I've been following for you for years. I love that you went and you did this down at the beach. I love that you did this at Hunana Niho. I love all of that. But you know what? I cannot vote for you because you're a Republican. Like
Yeah. Well,
seriously, And so I just think that there needs to be more balance in our government. I think that people have to start seeing people for who they are. You mentioned that on Pepper look good, yeah, it looks great. But I believe that we just need more community people in these spaces, in this representative spaces. We need community people. A lot of times you have these leaders that go out and they have beautiful papers that states all these beautiful things that they did, right? And then they go and try to be a community person. They go and try to be that. They go, you see candidates all the time. They're gonna go feed the homeless. They're gonna go fundraise for the food bank. They're gonna go do all these beautiful and wonderful looking things, but only because they're running for office. You know, that's
they need the picture, right? They need the picture for the brochure. They need
that.
the picture for the brochure.
And then
You
if you
know.
get money, you can put that picture out more frequent, to
Yeah.
paint the facade that this is who you are, when in all actuality you just like get in there, you get your own agenda, get your own stuffs you want to do, and it should just really be about our communities. It should
Yeah.
just really,
And
really be.
that's what whenever new council members come in, when I was in the council, I would say, guys, we are the voice of the people. You vote with your heart. Don't be influenced by special interests. And I challenged our village to, in the primary election, we had an opportunity to really make a change, because every single seat, and we can still do it in the general, every single seat was up for election in the primary and in the general. This is because of reapportionment, every
Right.
single seat.
Mhm.
But Kukana, you get 40% of the people. On Koi was even less than 40% of the people that are voting. It's very hard to implement change, because it's the people that vote every year or
Mhm.
every election are going to vote. The 60% that are grumbling and complaining and struggling, and possibly just so tired of working 2 or 3 jobs that they put the ballot envelope on the side. I'll get to it later, and they never do.
Mhm.
But yeah, how can we expect anything to change if we don't change the people? Now, my disclaimer is in your district, you should know if you're in a better place today than you were 2 or 4 years ago. In your district, you should know if your representatives and your senators are representing you. And if they're not, then find someone else. If they are, then of course, vote for them again. But the message never went out. And it's the same old, same old, same old. And it's frustrating to hear. And I always say it's no D, no R. I don't know why, it is even a issue, because no one should be so stuck on a party line that it would force you to pick a less qualified person because of the D or the R. To me, that's irresponsible. Um, but that's what we continue to see.
Yeah, no, I feel you. You touched up on the vote, the registered voters. Yes, you're right. It's the same people who vote all the time. They've voted in the last 6 elections or six plus elections. In my district alone, we had actually had 18% increase in voter registration. In the Hawaiian community, and that's huge. And so, on a separate note, well, maybe it's not separate, but if more Hawaiians would vote, you know, there could be a real change in some things. And unfortunately, it is a trust issue for a lot of them, or some of them. My not lazy, but busy, like how you shared. Just you in your life. I When I was younger, I actually I voted, but what I liked, Mel, was I liked that one day in the election year that I got, if I was working or if somebody watched my kids while I walked across the street to my elementary school or my voting poll to vote, and I mean, I liked that. I like checking off boxes after I do something, I like initiating and knowing that I did something, and so um I believe there just needs to be a push in the encouragement into voter registration, you know. Eh, Kalamay. Oh, no, excuse me. Kalamay, that's
Come
my
on
mom.
in. Come
Yeah,
on in.
she
How
bringing
you,
me
Auntie?
from my bathroom. Mom, I'm on top of a show. I never told
Yeah, this
you.
is why I love live.
Mommy,
No, no,
mommy, I
come,
love
come
you.
say
Say
hello.
hi
Come
to
say
Mel.
hello.
Come, mommy, hello, my. Oh, careful, careful.
Hi,
That's
Mel.
what I love. How you doing? You got an amazing daughter, and I'm
Susan Frank Commons is my baby.
oh boy.
Hello, bye. You got that, mommy?
No, not at all. Yes, that's why I love Hawaii so much. I
Oh, she's
tell
coming back.
you,
Watch it.
yeah.
What's that, mommy? Go ahead.
We had Augie T on the show last week, and his mom came in, and she was a
Mahalo.
riot, man. She was a riot.
My
Name
There's some
Okiha.
commas on Kauai. You guys know Michael Drake?
Michael J.
Michael Drake married to
Yes,
Kama.
yes, that's her first
That's
cousin.
my first
Her first
cousin,
cousin's child.
Michael.
Well,
My
he's
yes.
watching right now. He's watching right now.
Hi, Mike. Hi, cousin. Oh look, he said
She's
aloha, auntie.
oh,
Hi, cousin. Don't trip on that cord, okay? I
can
get
you
the
come down?
fan
Come down.
blowing because it's just okay. Yep, that's mother. Kalamai, too. I went fall off track because yes, my mother just brought toilet paper into my bathroom. What a wonderful, she's just being thoughtful.
Yeah. Liz is
Kalamai.
saying the reason party matters is that once you're elected, you are under the thumb of the party pressure. Look at what happened in D.C. in the Congress and the Senate. The Republican Party is dead and done. Otherwise, democracy is dead. Sorry, but it matters. We're talking about our state level politics.
Yeah,
Congress. I will be the first to tell you, both sides of the Congress, Democrats and Republicans, should go back to kindergarten and learn how to behave because they act like kids. And I am not ashamed to say that. I'm not. It's both parties. Both parties. That's just my personal opinion from what I see, where they cannot come in the same room and chat. They cannot have discussions because uh, now it's the Democrats hate the Republicans and the Republicans hate the Democrats. And I don't want to get into this party discussion. I'm just saying, in Hawaii, which we're not Congress, we're not Washington D.C. We are in a place that is, as the Lieutenant Governor said last night, in our HRS talks about the spirit of aloha, and we should be following that. We should be able to have discussions with people, not party. It doesn't matter what party you are, because the impacts to our people affect Democrats and Republicans alike.
Right.
So I'm just saying, it's I I I mean I got listen. I had gotten messages from people asking me why I bring in on Republicans. Number one, in my if you look in my promo slides, I don't mention whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I really don't care. I want people to know get introduced to people that are willing to give of themselves to serve the communities. That's all I want to do.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter for me, and especially in the general, it doesn't matter. You can vote wherever you want, and that's
Right.
the intention of the show.
No, I
Uh,
appreciate that, Mel. I do. I appreciate that because, like, kind of going back to what Liz was sharing here, you know, um, and that's the continental America. Economy. Like before politics, before all of that, I am a Kanaka Wahine. This is my homeland. Um, I'm very Hawaii centric. Yes, whatever they do up there will eventually affect us here, but the closer you are to community, the closer you are to the change and effects that can happen more immediate. You know, you go through the federal um, processes and all that kind of stuff, it takes a while before it trickles into Hawaii, you know. And for me, I had to pick a party. I picked a party that I felt resonated with the things that I valued, you know, family, you know, my spirituality, you know, all of those things. Um, but the work that I do, the way I feel about Hawaii, like I'm very pro Hawaii, you know? And so, like I said, I feel that it should just be about our community, you know? And I wish others could see that. I can't make others see that. I can encourage and inspire changes in others. And that's something that I've been doing since I've been a young mom, you know, help encourage and inspire people to make the necessary changes in their life and whatever that might be for them. You know, we all have our own ways that we see value in our lives that we live, you know, and so, yeah, I hope that if we are wanting these changes, if you're wanting true accountability in our governmental piece, if you know you want to bring community voice into legislation, then put community people in there. You know, let them be in there, let them learn firsthand. They will take back those things and they will definitely dish it back to the community and get their mana'o, their ideas, their thoughts and concerns about these things happening in their home, you know. And I just think that there's a slight disconnect by that. You have to have community and people skill. You have to truly care, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to
That,
care.
that's what it comes down to. It's the true motivation to serve in elected office is what is the true reason? Is it to um, support or work for special interests, or is it to
Or is it to
truly,
advance your career? You see a
yeah,
lot of that.
or yeah, use a stepping stone to get up and up and up.
Keep
Um,
going, you
Liz,
know.
Liz, Liz said that is the issue. We need to work together. The system needs to change. Exactly right. And the system. It's like, yeah, I love football, and I relate a lot of my life issues to football. The football game is a wonderful game. There's nothing wrong with the system of football. But if you put the wrong people on the field, if you put the wrong people with the striped jerseys, then you have a problem. It's not the system. The way we have our system designed today, it's not the fault of the system. It's the fault of the people that are serving us. That's the real issue. So you gotta change the people
Yeah, to
to
play the
to
position.
change the system to make the system better. Now this clown over here, hold on while I block
I
this
see you.
guy.
Bye, Bart.
Uh,
Deuces.
what the hell is his problem? You know what is a problem? I blocked him. I blocked him, and okay, there we go. Now it kicked in. What a turd! You know, I mean, I get a lot of messages after the fact that are ridiculous, but this one is on the live, and it wouldn't let me block him. So he's blocked now. Bye, Barty. Look
It's
again,
okay.
he's doing it again.
Now he's stony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's changing.
You
What a
know what?
clown!
No, Mel, that doesn't bother me.
I
You
just,
always
we
gonna
get,
get, you always get
it's
that
just
kind, you know.
Barty, Barty. What a punk. Anyway, you know, one of the things I think that one of the solutions to getting, and you kind of touched on it, getting our communities engaged, getting our communities out to vote, is transparency in government, is
Hmm.
getting the community involved. We don't have community boards here or neighborhood boards here. Oahu does, but when the people believe that they are being heard, and you lived it right, firsthand experience where you weren't being heard because you didn't fit their agenda. But when the community members feel that they're going to be heard and they are being kept in the loop of whatever's going on, then I think you build that engagement, and then you build their desire to be a part of it, and part of that is obviously voting,
Hmm.
and that's what I think we've lost. One of the things, uh, the legislature, I fight with this every year. It's the state is exempt from the Sunshine Law, the Hawaii Sunshine Law.
Yeah.
They passed a law years ago, which I support the law. I think it's a great law. Open
It is.
records law, sunshine law. If you're in a county council, any time more
Two or
than,
more. Two
yeah,
or
you
more.
gotta.
Yeah.
It's the discussion
No,
has to be
three
in
or
the
more.
public.
Yeah. Three or more.
Well, depending on which count. We have seven here, so for us it's two. Oahu, I believe, is three. So any discussion between two council members on Kauai or three on Oahu requires a public meeting. Every item that is discussed needs to be posted 1 week prior, so the public has an understanding of what that government body is doing. Well, the state, when they passed this law decades ago, conveniently exempted the legislature. So the state legislature can meet with as many of the legislators as they want. They don't have to keep a record. They don't have to post a meeting. They definitely don't have to meet in public.
No.
So what happens is, as you go through the session and people are following certain bills and the bill dies, and later on a completely brand new bill pops up with no public information, no public warning, and the bill just somehow right through. So I would
Yep.
love to see the legislature stand up and say, I support including the legislature in the Sunshine Law, because I think that is where, for the state issues, many of us get surprised when these
Hmm.
things happen.
I think it takes raising awareness to community people, and I'm not just talking about my community, just the people in general, raising awareness, educating them about the importance of why this is being shared with them, and then having them join in with the push. Because as you've seen Red Hill. In my own community, you saw Hunana Niho, aka Sherwood, aka Wamana Beach Park, Bay Park, right? Okay, that's the three names for it, but nowadays it's Hunana Niho. Anyways, my point is, once you raise the awareness, people like to say community buy-in. I like to say educate. Okay, because once you know, you cannot unknow something, right? So pressure, pressure from the people, because the power is in the people. Okay, gang, the power is truly the people. When you can organize the people and press, you will be very surprised at what can be done. I mean, it's in our history, Hawaiian history, American history. When you can get the people together to put pressures on top of those who make those decisions, you know it could change all kinds of things. It could. I mean, look, we got Kaho'olawe back after the constant bombing and the breaking of the water aquifer and all of that, and they stopped and America has the most powerfulest army or militant in the world, and that was done by pressure, by education, and so I always have hope, and even in people, I know that there is good in all people, even if we can't see it, there's good in all people, and even though we might be in all this dark issues, problems, struggles and all that kind of stuff, there's still hope in the darkness. There's still light that can be found if you seek it, and so I don't know. You have to remain optimistic, especially really when you're in not in life in general. You need to remain optimistic because it keeps peace for yourself. And when you go into politics, you have to remain optimistic. You gotta know that just because there's this law that's an unjust law that's not helping this, there's still ways and means of amending it, changing it, making it work. You know, advocating, creating solutions for departments who create policies for that law to implement that law. Like, you have to be optimistic. You have to believe that there are things that can be done, that you can be a part of, that there is a solution, and that's my thought too about people who maybe stay in those positions for a really long time, and not just politics but in life. In my viewpoint, like with young people, for me, I would love to mentor up a young person with ambition, with drive, who has a beautiful heart, that has empathy for the people that they want to serve, are serving, and prepare them to take my seat, you know come and take this, because we can't expect us to be there all the time. We have to be able to relinquish the reins to the next, and so I believe, or the age I'm at right now, the Makua age, the parent age, we are a bridge to connecting the kupuna or the old, with the new. Because I tell you now, like, I get really inspired by our young people. I believe a lot of times that our young people are overlooked because of ageism. Sometimes even my age people is overlooked because of ageism. But I truly feel that we all have something to give, and we should be open to hearing it. And so for me, I never really saw any kind of party line. I just see people who believe in this way or believe in that way, and then trying to come into some kind of agreement. I mean, some kind of agreement, you know, if there's a compromise here or there, but trying to meet and make it the best that we can, without stifling each other, without, you Democrats, you da 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 for all this time, you Republicans, you da 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 da. It's just like, man,
I know. If we can get back to that balance, where you can have uh, all parties be able to sit around
oh,
a table and have
all
a
of it.
have an adult discussion on what's best for the community, and are willing to compromise, because that's really what politics is. It's the art of compromise, being able to give and take until you end up with a product that benefits the majority of the people. That's really
It
what
kind
it
of
is.
it kind of sounds like marriage.
It's exactly like marriage. And
Right? Like,
you talked about your husband saying, "What? Not a meeting?" I think there's the spouses or partners of political people, or just, I shouldn't say just political people, but community people,
yeah, community
should
people.
really be honored, because they put up a lot. They really got to sacrifice a lot, so their partners can go out and serve the community. So yeah, much mahalo to your husband. I'm blessed with an
Same.
amazing wife who allows me to do this, but you know, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I know we don't have much time left, and I do want to give you a few minutes to explain to our voters why if they can, if they're in your district, why they should vote for you. But I did want to share of how I how I got to know who you were, and it was someone sent me a video of a sign holding event that was going on your, what I perceive to be your favorite corner, a corner that was and there's reason why I bring this up, and
It's not
it's
my
because,
favorite corner, okay, Mel.
oh, I thought it was your favorite corner. It seemed like
No,
you were there,
it's
and
it's a prime spot that
oh,
I've kind of,
and
hanai.
the public came, from what I could gather from the video. I never spoke to you about this, and I apologize if I'm putting you
It's
on the
okay.
spot, but
Nah.
that's what this show is all about. But those people that pass that intersection expect to see you there, because you're there many times, and you show up this morning, and this other candidate comes in and basically sets up right next to you,
In
and
front of me.
there, yeah, to block you from the passerbys, the passerbyers. And
The passerby.
there is I mean, I've, like I said, I've done this for so long. I've held signs, I don't know how many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And there's this unwritten rule where, if I'm going to pop up and someone is already holding sign, number one, I'm not, you know, one punk. I'm not going to go and set up so I'm going to be in the way. But I also going to ask, hey, is it okay if I set up here? And it happened to me the day after the election. I was out in the morning, the Monday after the primary. I was out in the morning in Wailua holding my sign, and Councilmember Billy DeCosta came up and he looked at me. He said, "Brother, is it okay if I hold over here?" And I said, "Absolutely, man, absolutely." And of course, we end up shake hand talk story. But in this case, this person and his team didn't, they just went up there and blocked your way. And
I shouldn't
and
say
I
his team. I shouldn't say his team because, we're gonna put credit where credit's due, okay? Because
okay,
It wasn't
Well, yeah,
really.
I take that back. I apologize. I take that back because the communication wasn't the team; it was him. But what was appalling to me, and I think appalling to everyone that saw that video, is the comment that you don't own the land. This is
Mhm.
when Kanaka, when Hawaiian Wahine, standing there on Hawaiian land, on Hawaiian soil, and this person had the audacity to come up and tell you you don't own the land, and yet you were. I love the optimism. I love all of that. I would have handled it a little differently, non-violent, but it definitely would have been wouldn't be as pleasant. How did you keep your head in on straight when that happened? And you share as much as you want, but
No,
by the
no,
way,
that's
it was one of the governor. It was our lieutenant governor who's running for governor.
see, like even inside of my video, I didn't say who he was. How did I handle it, Mel? I'll be really honest with you. It's taken if you knew who I was 15 years ago, this is nothing like who I was. And I believe that my desire, my want to improve and be the best me that I can be is what helps to keep my head cool. And I've you could say that it stung, but I've learned how to kind of just boom. When you say sparring, you gotta do
Yep.
the blocks.
Bob and weave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so uh, I've really rounded my sharp edges because the old Kukana, yeah, she probably would have handled that a little different. But what the world needs today and what my family needs today is the better, improved Kukana. We can get a little bit, we can actually get a lot farther in life, being able to control ourselves and being able to be appropriate, and so and laugh, a good laugh and a smile like this is my secret weapon. This is aloha. Yeah, you, you just smile. You can smile through things, even if it's unpleasant. Just like Stony and Bart over there, like we just smile through that because that's not it's irrelevant. And so that's kind of how I dealt with that. As and it for me, what that did for me though was really show me character, because I believe character is really important, especially in leadership. And so I'm not out there talking about him or that experience. I just felt the need to share it on my live, to let people understand that character is truly important. You can be told, you can be shown, you can read this and it looks beautiful, pretty, and gorgeous and sparkly and all that awesome stuff, but really it's this, you know, ohe,
Yeah.
nothing, zero, and so yeah, you're gonna come across that kind in your life, and it's really
Oh,
important how you choose to handle it. And so I think I did a pretty good job that day.
no, you did a fantastic job. And I'm not Hawaiian, not an ounce of Hawaiian in me. Born and raised here. Many generations before me and my family have been here for a long, long, long time. I don't know my Portuguese culture. I only know the Hawaii culture. And but I always tell people, you guys lucky I'm not Hawaiian, because I would be a little more loud when it comes to those Hawaiian issues, cultural issues, natural resource issues, because I think they do get taken advantage of, the actual
Mhm.
culture, the natural resource, not the people, but we got a lot of wonderful people fighting for our culture here, and much love and aloha to them.
Yeah,
Um,
and to
you know,
and to the
I,
allies, and to the allies too. We need
yeah,
allies.
absolutely.
Yeah, and so
Absolutely. Well, we all love it here. We all respect and love this place because of what it has given us, and we cannot forget that. I just will say this before I turn them over to you for your closing comments. I was in some conference, or I think it was a sales conference in one of my. I forget where it was already, but I'll never forget what I was told. And it says, people will never remember what you say, and they will not never remember what you do, but they will always remember how you made them feel.
yep.
And that really comes down to what you're saying about character. Character matters. That sting that you felt, the sting that we all feel when people say hurtful things or bad things. I mean, we never forget those things, and I don't care what politicians say or what they do. Uh, we got to start holding them accountable to how they make us feel, and I think
Mhm.
that is critical. So with that, Kukana, I'm going to
Wait,
turn it
I
back
like
over and
you can turn them to me, but I like just add one more comment to that too.
absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
shared this too. Like, we all have bad days. We all have bad days. Sometimes, we don't know whatever each of us go through. And so the optimistic piece of me was like, you know what? Maybe he just had a bad morning. Maybe he's just overwhelmed with something. Like we all get, like we all do. And so. But anyways, Mel, I want to mahalo nui you. Thank you so very much for this opportunity to be on your show. And to all of those who of you who are watching, if you're in my district, in my community of Waimanalo Kailua or not, you know, truly truly look into these people who would like to represent you. And for those of you who are in my home community of Waimanalo and Kailua, um, so much aloha to you. I hope that one day we can talk in person because I would truly love to know who you are, the concerns you might have, or the things that you just would like to share that you love about your home. I am, my door will always be open. Whatever color doesn't matter, where you live doesn't matter to me. We are all people. We are all creatures of this pai aina in this on this planet Earth that we call Earth. And I just really want an opportunity to be able to represent our community and to help with solution building in this beautiful place we call home here in Hawaii. And so, mahalo nui to each and every one of you for giving me some of your time this evening. And again, Mel, mahalo nui to you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, man. I hope one day we get to meet in person. I wish you the best in the election. I really do. I mean, there's no doubt about the heart, the passion, the commitment, the true desire to help your fellow people. So yeah, I'm really happy to know you, proud to know you, and looking for the day we get to meet. Michael Drake, he's like a brother from another mother, man. I didn't realize he was your cousin. I mean, it's like he doesn't even come on this show anymore. He used to, and then he stopped. But tonight we got him back. So welcome back to the
Yay!
village, bro. For the village again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Again, tomorrow no show, and Friday we'll have Kauai Council member Felicia Cowden will be on to share her thoughts with us and her experiences as a somewhat new council member and one
Awesome.
seeking re-election. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be cool. We'll have a blast. So with
Yeah.
that, everybody, you guys stay safe. Take care. God bless. We love you. Send our love and aloha to your ohana kukana, and we appreciate them
Mahalo.
allowing you to spend some time with us tonight.
Thank you so
All
much,
right, you guys.
Mel.